What's up, guys? Get ready for the recap on the 24-hour treadmill race with me, Chili, Brooke, and Blake. I think you guys are going to enjoy this episode. There's a lot of good stuff in here. This episode is brought to you by our hydration partner, HOIST. All right? I drank HOIST for the duration of this 24-hour race. And I've never put it through that type of test before, just haven't had the opportunity to. And I want to tell you that, truthfully, it performed flawlessly. It kept me hydrated. It was easy on my stomach, didn't cause any issues. It tasted good the entire time, and it kept me going, which is something to be said, man. A lot of products that are out there, hydration supplements, if you drink them for that long, under that amount of stress, it will cause your stomach to blow up. That was not my experience with HOIST on this past race, this treadmill race. So just took it to the next level, got to test it on a whole new level, and it performed exactly as I expected it to. HOIST has everything that you need to keep your body going for a long, long time. I can say that with confidence. And not to mention, they are an awesome company. They've been an awesome partner. They contribute to 307 Project, first responders, and the military in multiple tangible ways that we have seen. And they don't always advertise it, but they do it, which means a lot to us. So if you run, if you hike, if you swim, if you get outside, you sweat, you work, get you some dang HOIST, man. And you're going to feel better at the end of the day than you would drinking freaking some crap Gatorade. Thank you, HOIST. Check them out at drinkhoist.com. Here you go. Everybody's mic's working.
Check.
Blake just set all this stuff up for us earlier today. All right, we live on here. Hey, well, I got a little buzzing coming through my daggone
I hear it
headphones,
too,
man.
Who is it?
Don't let that set you off again.
Yeah. Hey, guys, welcome back. Whether you're watching us here live on YouTube right now or you're joining us on the 307 podcast, we appreciate you guys being here tonight. We're going to... We appreciate you guys being here tonight. We're going to... Yeah,
Whoa.
you got to turn that off, Biscuit.
Oh, I didn't...
We're going to go over the 24-hour treadmill race that most of you guys hopefully joined us on. And we're going to talk about highs and lows. We're going to talk about what we're doing for recovery right now. That'll be a pretty short conversation. we're going to answer a bunch of questions toward the end, all right? Most of our questions today are going to come from our Patreon members. If you guys don't know, there's a whole community that supports 307 Project on a platform called Patreon. These individuals choose to contribute $25, $10, or $5 a month. And what you might not know is the reason that we're able to do things like this 24-hour treadmill race and we're able to put all this together, afford the equipment, set aside the time, a lot of that is because people support us on Patreon, all right? So we've got about 270 people over there on Patreon, and it just frees us up. It allows us to do what we do. It allows us to make these things happen. So I posted on there today, and they sent in a bunch of solid questions, so we're going to get on those toward the end of the conversation. I want to start off by thanking all you guys that joined on the live stream, and most especially all you guys that were able to donate during the live stream. It was absolutely unbelievable. We ended up raising $249,999.99.
Good job.
We were literally 1 cent away from me having to shave my beard off. But, and we're going to get more into that here in a minute. But I want to thank you guys that were able to contribute. I hate saying the word when I talk about this event. We raised $249,000. When I say we, I mean all of us collectively. Every one of you guys that were watching, Chili and I that were running, Blake, James, Ward, that were hosting, and we had multiple other hosts on. Brooke was a big part of hosting the show. I had Cornbread there as my crew, Chief, Chili had his dad, Jeff. There were tons of people
David.
that went into supporting this thing. And David flew all the way out from San Diego to be there with us and to tell us about VIP. And it was just unbelievable to see the community. I never realized that we had such a community on YouTube. So I want to just start off by thanking everybody that was involved, because me and Chili on the treadmills were just, obviously it became very apparent very quickly, we were just a little bitty piece of this puzzle, right? And Blake setting up all the tech stuff and making that happen. That was a big learning curve, guys. I don't know if y'all understand this, but we're just a couple of dudes living in the mountains in Northwest Georgia. None of us went to school to learn how to use this equipment. We figured this crap out on the fly out of necessity. So Blake's come a long ways with that. So I want to thank all you guys. We talked about how much money we raised, and total miles. A lot of you guys are asking about that, and we're going to dig into here in a little while how me and Chili feel about the miles that we accumulated over the course of that 24-hour race. But total miles ended up being 87 miles for me, Chad, and 64.97 miles for Chili. So that was total miles. So, yeah, pretty much crushed you on that one, brother.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed in you for not giving me way more crap for that.
Well,
I told you before the race, whether it was on camera or not or both, that you couldn't beat me at that, and you didn't just beat me, you really rubbed my nuts in the dirt. So come on, man.
The truth of the matter is, and I think Blake can attest to this, I legitimately thought that you were going to beat me. Blake, didn't I?
Yeah.
I legitimately thought that you were going to beat me. I knew there was a chance that you would blow up, because there's always a chance for any runner at any level to blow up during an ultra distance race, 24-hour race. So I knew that there was a chance that was going to happen, but I didn't foresee it happening the way it happened. And we'll get more into the details of that here in a minute. What's up, Biscuit?
Hey.
We got Biscuit on. All y'all know Biscuit. You good? All right. So toward the end of I'd say toward the end, we had like 5 or 6 hours left to run during the actual event. A lot of you guys were coming through on the chat, and you guys were asking us questions about how we were going to recover from this race. And the reason that we weren't answering those questions, guys, is I want you to understand, when you're doing something that's difficult, you cannot think about the end. You can't think about what you're going to do after. You cannot let that stuff creep into your head, all right? Me and Chili have done this long enough to know that. About the furthest I thought was 10 minutes. 10 minutes ahead. That was the furthest I ever thought during this entire event. Literally, sometimes I was only thinking 1 minute, all right? As you guys know, I ran that 6-4, running 6, walking 4 from 11 p.m. to the very end. And so I was a slave to these 10-minute chunks of time. And when you guys were asking me these questions about what we were going to do afterwards, look, that's not something that I can let creep into my mind. And that's a lesson for you guys when you're going through something hard. The harder it gets, the smaller you have to break it down. You can't think about the end of a thing. You have to think about what you have to do in order to stay in the fight, sometimes just for 1 more minute, sometimes just for 10 more seconds, all right? The harder it gets, the smaller you have to break it down. But we'll talk about recovery real quick. We'll hit that, and then we'll go into the body of the race. I want to make this statement. Chili, you can back me up on this if you want. A lot of you guys asking about recovery, you're asking that question because there are so many things out there. There are so many products. There are so many, tools and all this stuff that are supposed to help you recover. I want to explain something to you. It is of my opinion, and I'm very firm on this opinion, that about 80% of anything out there that is claiming it's going to help you recover, whether it's a supplement or some sort of little roller thing or some sort of mat or some freaking Normatec boots or whatever it may be, about 80% of everything that you see is a scam. It is absolute bull crap. All right? There's a whole industry that's been built around helping athletes recover. And the truth of the matter is, your body is designed to do extremely hard things and then immediately repair itself using just the regular nutrients that you put into your body via regular food, that and sleep. All right, that's really all it takes. So I'll tell you what I did the day after the race. I sat in my daggone chair and propped my feet up. I ate a bunch of eggs and bacon in the morning. I ate a big smoothie for lunch. I ate a ribeye steak and rice and cheese for dinner. And I just sat there all day. And that's all I did.
Don't forget the ice cream.
And I ate ice cream too. And if I had to sleep, I went and got some sleep. And I didn't set an alarm in the morning. I just slept as long as my body needed to sleep. All right? I've done about the same dang thing today. I ate when I was hungry. I slept when I was tired. I didn't set an alarm this morning. The only thing I did different today is I went and sat in the sauna for a few minutes just to clear my mind. And then I took about a 10-minute walk. And that's about it. I don't use any supplements, any tools, any of that. Your body has what it needs to do everything it needs to recover. What do you say, Chili?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely back you up on at least most of that, and the principle that your body has what it needs to recover on its own. And a lot of the tools out there are scams, and a lot of the tools out there may do some of what they say they're going to do, but the actual effect of it is cheating your own body out of that chance to truly adapt and to truly do what it's supposed to do. So it actually teaches your body that it doesn't have to use those recovery mechanisms that it was designed to use, which I think is a really negative thing if you want to ever replicate a big effort again, because the more you do, the more your body doesn't know how to respond to it, and then negative things can only come from that. I do think that principle mainly applies to recovery from just general training stress, where it's a stress that you can adapt from, and I think that's a little less true for a big effort, a 24-hour run or whatever the case may be, because I think that goes beyond a productive amount of stress and kind of is too excessive. To actually get a benefit from, I'm saying. So then you could use some of those tools, but I still think that it's unnecessary and doesn't allow your body to do what it's designed to do. So how I would the way that I recover differently from just normal training is and a big effort like this is I do the same things just in different proportions. I slept for 16 hours.
Yeah.
Whenever I went to sleep after the event that afternoon, I literally slept for I think 15 hours, which I never do that, right? That's almost double what I normally do. Well, I needed about double the amount of sleep, and then the next night slept for about 10 hours. Ate more food, ate more of the nutrients that I thought I needed and wanted, and got a little blood flow, got a little blood circulation movement by walking around and trying to move my body and testing things and stuff like that. But
Packing
nothing.
orders.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, if you want a giveaway, it should be in the mail. So at least the ones that I had to take care of. So, yeah, just that kind of thing. Just move around and I don't like to, after a big race like this, I don't like to lay around a bunch if I'm not sleeping. I like to sleep excessively, a ton. But then whenever I'm up, I want to be up and getting my blood moving again, because if I just sleep for 15 hours and then lay down the rest of the 9, I think you're never getting that blood moving and oxygenated and changing over, and that's a lot of where the recovery actually happens. So the recovery happens to maximize recovery. You got to sleep a lot, but then while you're awake, light movement is actually the best way to utilize that time.
Yep.
So that's how I do it. It's basically the exact same thing I do to recover from a normal training run. It's just different proportions. More of what I do normally.
I like that. So that's recovery, guys. It's really, really simple. Like, the arch on my left foot is swollen and red and hot. But guess what? I just need to, it will heal.
Yeah.
It will heal.
The answer to how do you recover is weight.
Yeah.
It's time. I mean, that's ultimately the answer. There's you want to speed things up. I get it. And maybe you can, like if something, if your muscle is twitching or something and whatever, I mean, yeah, sit there and massage it with your hand. I mean, whatever. But like, all these different tools and modalities are just useless.
I'm in complete agreement. I know Biscuit's not, but we'll move on from recovery now. I want to talk about highs and lows during the event. All right. And I'd love to hear from you on this, Biscuit. What was your, if you want to say low, or your maybe anxiety or whatever it may be, and then what was like a really the highest point of the event for you?
You're saying like for me personally, or watching you guys and just the energy of the whole event?
However you want to answer it.
I thought one of the coolest parts of the 24-hour thing with us all being together was the changes in energy throughout that time. It was like when we first started, there was a ton of people there, and you guys were both really fresh and being funny and loud and interacting a bunch. And then we just had these just waves of energy where, throughout the night, there was a few times it got kind of quiet. I mean, I don't know. My favorite part was the beginning, the first like 4 or 5 hours.
Really?
When y'all were just being funny. Like, y'all were just full of energy, and y'all had a crowd of people behind us. Like, there was a ton of people there.
Yeah.
And you know how you get when there's a lot of people around. You just turn into a showman. So you were cracking jokes and talking about where you met Chili for the first time on OnlyFans, and
that's 100% true.
Of course you like that.
That was my favorite part. No, the end was my favorite part though.
Was the beginning or the end your favorite part?
I think.
What the crap?
I think. I don't know. I'm not, just so the viewers know, I'm not going to win here. I was taking a ration of crap before we went live, and anything I say during this, I'm going to get made fun of.
I like turtles.
So y'all go ahead. Everybody just get it out. Go ahead.
I think the beginning was my favorite part, but the end was my favorite part.
It's hard. I quit.
Well, I'll move on from that. A big low point for me was, you guys don't know this, but at about 30 miles, when I was about 30 miles in, so this would have been probably right around dark, sometime around there. These treadmills, all right, I don't care what True Form says. I don't care what their science says. I don't care what any of that crap says. That treadmill does not put you in a natural running position, all right? There is nothing natural about running on a true form treadmill.
Thank you.
Yeah, they created all their own science saying that puts you in a natural running position. It is a very unnatural running position, all right, because of the curvature of the actual platform. It takes only common sense for you to think, do you ever run on ground that curves like that? No, you don't. All right. And so because of the curvature of that, it was really taxing on my calves and hamstrings.
The back of that knee.
Yes, the back of my knee. So right where my calf attached to my knee on the back side, okay? Around 30 miles on both legs, that point where my calf attaches became so painful and inflamed that it was nearly unbearable. And I didn't know what was going to happen. It literally got so bad that I began to think that part of my calf was actually going to tear away. It hurt that bad. So a lot of those trips that I was making to the bathroom during that time were not to use the bathroom. I would go into the bathroom and I would lay down on my back on the floor of that bathroom and put my feet up on a chair. And the reason I was doing that is because that was early on enough. At this point, Chili was still walking on his unit, on his treadmill, as fast as I was running. And I didn't want him to know that I was in any pain, all right? Because I knew he would see that, and I don't like to show that, right? I didn't even want you guys to know that I was in that type of pain. I obviously wasn't going to talk about it, but if I would have took those breaks right in front of Chili and the camera and propped my feet up and laid on my back, now these breaks were only a minute or two long, but it was long enough to relax that muscle where it was being strained significantly. That was probably the low point for me, that I didn't know if I was ever going to recover from that. And I didn't know if I was going to have literally a debilitating issue, because here's the thing, going into this race, we told you guys on these types of treadmills that we were running on, we didn't know how this platform was going to affect our bodies. So we didn't know if you could run that sort of distance or time on these units. So the whole time we're just breaking new ground. We're just discovering how this surface is affecting our body in a unique way. And so here's a place where I'm like, okay, this is affecting my body extremely negatively. And holy crap, I've got to run for 16 more hours. And so that was a real low point for me when that flared up, because the pain became nearly unbearable. I came back in after one of those breaks around, this would have been probably around the 12-hour mark. No, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 or 12 hours. And I took some naproxen. And when I took that naproxen, it cut down on the inflammation on that muscle where it was flared up.
Cheater.
And it never came back. It never came back. Now, if I wouldn't have done that, yeah, who knows? That the muscle may have torn. I don't know. But it cut down enough on the inflammation that pain never came back. And that was just a huge low for me that early on, laying on my back on a dirty bathroom floor, knowing I got to run for freaking 12 more hours, 14 more hours, whatever it was. That can get to your head, man. That can get to your head. I didn't let it get to my head, but it tries to creep its way in. All right. High point for me was from 8 a.m. to noon. 8 a.m. to noon. There was at 7 a.m., I took a 18-minute nap. All right? A 20-minute nap for me is perfect. I don't know why I did 18 minutes. I guess so I'd have 2 minutes to wake up, rub my eyes, and get back on the treadmill. But I took that 20-minute nap at 7. I got back up. You know, we were right there close to that 8 o'clock hour. I knew I only had 4 hours left to go. All right. And I broke every hour down into 6 10-minute segments. And so I knew I could manage 4 hours. And that was the highlight of the, for me physically, that was the highlight of my race, was that last 4 hours. And then the energy was back up. People were back in. Mm-hmm. We had guests back in. The viewer count was going up. The donations were going up. But even in those 4 hours, I was working, man. Like, I remember one time Brooke and David, they were asking me, "Hey, fire the viewers up.
Yeah.
Like, give them something." And I looked back at the camera and I said, "Look, I'm going to keep running until the end of this thing. And that's going to be my contribution." So some of you guys said, like, the old bull never had to show up and I made this look easy and all this. No, it wasn't easy. I can promise you, it was not easy. All right? Something with you, Chili.
Well, running 87 miles wasn't easy, but maybe running the 65 you needed might have been easy. But no, the highs and lows, I mean, I didn't I just don't even think of it in those terms. Like, I didn't really experience. I feel like it was more consistent, more even than just feeling highs and lows. I mean, I think we talked about that during the event, that's the way ultras go. There's highs and lows, but I mean, I don't even have a high that sticks out or a low that sticks out. I mean, the whole thing was a high in a way of just how awesome it was and how cool it was. I mean, you know, obviously it was so cool when one of the most generous people in the world, Jesse and Sarah, you know, donated $80,000 at the end, and you see that $250,000 number basically hit, and obviously that's a high and everything. But I mean, the first 5,000 was so cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like, we just donate 5,000 in an hour.
Yeah,
and then 50,000, you know, each milestone. So I mean, I don't think there was really a high I can think of. I mean,
well, I'm interested on, like, I know that it wasn't a significant impact to you, but it had to, like, I know you were never thought about quitting, obviously. I know that for a fact. And any of y'all that ever crossed your mind that Chili was going to quit, you don't know who Chili is, all right? So it was never a doubt in my mind that he wasn't going to keep ponying up on that treadmill. But there had to have been a distinct moment where you had the realization that unless something drastically changed, you weren't going to be able, you couldn't run. Oh. And then you just, it was a walk. I mean, it was a walk.
Yeah. To call it a run is a little bit disrespectful on my part. I mean,
so, I mean, was that not driving you crazy, man? That you couldn't run?
Well, I mean, I don't even remember the time increments of everything. And when I say that wasn't a low either, there really wasn't a low. Like, I had went in to this with a mind frame or whatever you want to call it of, I'm going to go as far as I can. And I get a little crazy, I think, of thinking, I want every decision that I make, I'm going to do my best. I'll probably fail, but I want every decision I make to be in my best effort to maximize the amount of mileage I run. So every time I get off this treadmill, because you're not accumulating miles when you're off of it, but I want it to be productive. I want that to actually be meaning that if I had stayed on it, it would have caused me to actually not run as far as I would if I get off, do what I need to do, and then get back on. So that was why, you know, I was doing everything I was doing. And then you just have to face things as they come, right? So I got off more than I wanted to because I had to go to the bathroom and take a crap a lot. I mean, you know, I wouldn't have gotten off those times, but once that happens, it's like, okay, I could stay on this and crap my pants. Well, that's not going to maximize the amount of mileage I can run, I got to get off again and get off again. So every decision, and that's, when things aren't clicking away like you'd hope they are, that obviously is not thrilling. So that's not a high point, but no, I truly didn't. It just never, nothing really got low. I mean, I was just like, I'm going to take in everything that happens, take things as they come, and whatever it is, I'm not going to look at it as negative or positive. I'm just going to try to respond to it in the way that's going to maximize mileage. So I think my first failure was my failure to prepare in the best way that I could have for the actual race, right? I mean, I should have got on True Form. I don't have access to one, around me, but I should have got on True Form treadmills more. I mean, I've ran on like twice in my life. I mean, I should have got on it for an hour and got on it or 2 hours, done training runs for it. I should have ran more miles leading up to, I failed in preparation for the event. So, a lot of people, that's kind of what I was alluding to during the live stream, but I'll rehash it here because many people probably didn't see it. And I'm not trying to be long-winded, but a lot of people like to take pride in saying, well, man, I didn't even train for this 100-mile race. I just showed up and I still ran it in sub 24 or sub whatever. And it's like, well, good on you, but what if you had prepared? You may have done way better. See, a lot of people, they look at things like, I gave my best. I gave everything I had for this, and they're talking about what they did during the event. But what did you do in the weeks leading up to it? That was still you. That was still all encompassing for this event that you were about to do. Doing your best doesn't mean going hard on the day of something. It means spending every day of your life working towards it and making decisions, eating right, training properly. So you didn't give everything you have if you sat on your butt for weeks leading up to an event and then just ran really hard the day of. You didn't give everything you have. You tried to work hard that day, but you didn't give everything you have. So I failed in that way. My second failure was when things started to go bad. I made some bad decisions. I don't think I made the right calls on how to best maximize the rest of my day. I mean, right off the bat, I ran too far up front, like too hard. I went out too fast. Yeah. And I knew it was too fast pretty quick. 30 minutes, but I just kept doing it. Like, I was like, I shouldn't be doing this, but I did it anyway. And then I remember, too, thinking, I need to move around and figure out how to use different muscles and like just really spread this out, this fatigue out. And I didn't do it. I just didn't do it enough. It was difficult to do that on those.
I was about to say you didn't have many options.
Yeah, those True Form treadmills. It's funny you said that earlier about them. I went on a rant before I fell asleep in the car with my dad driving home saying, freaking True Form treadmills, it pisses me off they're called that. They should be called One Form treadmill, because no matter how you run or what your natural form is, if you get on that thing, it locks you into how it wants you to run, and you have no other choice. And it wasn't how I run. Yeah. So I did not like having to, be confined to that, how it wanted me to run, which ain't freaking True Form. It's some bull crap that they came up with. So yeah, I failed. I totally failed in spreading those around, and like you said, it was hard, but I should have figured something out. And that's why I started getting off so much on top of going to the bathroom. Like, just get off and do something. Just do something.
Give those muscles that you've been pounding, that's the exact same muscles, pounding them in the exact same way.
Yeah.
For hours and hours and hours again.
Yeah. Just do something, because I quickly realized, like I said, I don't know time frames here, but I really I think it was early. I mean, within 3 hours, I was like, I am not figuring out how to change the muscles, and it's literally getting to the point where they're not functioning the same. And what in the crap am I going to do if the only muscles that I'm even able to use don't work? So and like I said, what I was trying was getting off, go sit in the chair, go sit a certain way, walk on the treadmill. But one time I tried to run faster.
I remember that.
For 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't, it truly wasn't impatience. I was just trying I didn't even get my heart rate up. It was so short. Just trying to see if that, like, changed the muscles. And when I did, it didn't even do anything. It was using the same ones.
Same muscles.
Yeah. It was the same ones.
You're just using them harder.
I was just using them harder. And I was like, well, this is going to raise my heart rate, so this isn't going to work. And then you try to run slower, and it's like it's the same ones. And then it got to the point where I was running, and it was slower than I could walk because it changed it enough to walk with that big stride. Problem is, it was still the same muscles, but like I just found myself in that place. So I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. I was like, I do not want to do this. It's like when you get to a big hill in a mountain ultra. I don't like to ever not be running, but at a certain point, I set my pride aside and go, it would be really advantageous for me to power hike this versus run it. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap.
Because you're going to do it at the same speed, basically.
Exactly. So
minus 0.1 miles per hour.
So same thing with the walking on this. I was like, well, screw it. I'm going to, and then at first I was really pleased with it. It was faster than I could even run. So yeah, I mean, that's what I tried to do. And it was amazing how early that was too. I mean, 5 hours in and just already like throwing everything at it, just last resort stuff. I was like, good grief. I mean, boy, that's early. I mean, I've never been that last ditch effort, like resorted to last ditch efforts that early in an ultra. I mean, never.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't either.
I mean, the percentage would be like 6 miles into a 50K just being wrecked. That's not good. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I had to spend a long time trying to, but I mean, that's what I did. I mean, I spent the rest of the time just still trying to come up with anything. And, multiple times I was like, well, maybe because I've done this for long enough, like I'll be able to run faster than I could walk, and then you do it or whatever. And I mean, it's like the way that stride, the muscles that it took that stride to operate, just, I mean, I was, like I said, I had to go into manual, so.
Yeah, you had to drop it into granny gear. So.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean, I think, so that covered the first two failures. Thirdly, and to keep this, it's not been succinct, but as succinct as possible. Lastly, my third failure was just breaking the golden rule of, well, not ultra running, just anything, of don't ever be a puss. And I mean, I always think, no matter what race I've ever done, that's what I think. I mean, I don't think I was good enough. I think I failed on maximizing how much I could go. So I think I failed a lot, and that's the result you get, when you fail that much. So I mean, not happy with it. And I'm glad that the event was so much more than just what either one of us did, but it still doesn't change the fact that we we were running and we were trying to do something, and we had personal goals to, to try to do the best we could. And so when you fail those, even all the,
well, we had to stay on the treadmills.
well, yeah, well, of course, yeah. But I mean, it just, it's disappointing, to not hit them or not even get close.
Yeah.
I mean, of course it is. Like, it's because I care. If I didn't care, it wouldn't be disappointing. But I mean, I did care, and I failed too many times to even get close. So,
well, that was one of the questions that Doug Moore sent in on Patreon. He asked, and even I talked to Jesse Itzler the day after, and everybody, I think, including us in the beginning, we thought that this whole event was going to be based around the race.
Yeah.
Right? That's the attitude we all went into it with, because we had no clue what you guys were going to show up and do. Like, you guys, we had no expectations for what people were going to contribute in terms of donations to VIP, because we had never done anything like this before, and YouTube is pretty new to us. And so we went into it thinking, okay, this is about the race. This is about Chad and Chili competing against each other. And we know we're going to have people, so we're going to take donations, but we have no expectations around that. Well, it very, very quickly became like, holy crap. No, this ain't about Chad and Chili and who wins. And, I would have normally been giving you, Chili, much more crap.
Well, you still should.
For your performance. But I was so overwhelmed with gratitude, and the whole energy of the race it got to a point where it was revolving around the mission to help people at VIP Noah Rehab, and that's what it became. And even like some of my biggest highlight hours, one of my biggest ones was at 3 a.m. And 3 a.m. is usually a bad hour for me. But when you guys came up with the challenge for Chili to take his sunglasses off, and we raised $7,000
in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes at 3 a.m. for Chili to take his sunglasses off for 1 minute.
It's insane.
And it was like that. And then too, the gospel aspect of it. Another one of my favorite hours was from hour 11 p.m. to 12 at night. It was James Cordell got up on the mic, and I think it was James and David were hosting at that point, and the gospel was preached, and my testimony was shared by James Cordell with his perspective of it, and we had some serious conversations. We had some serious talks. One of my favorite hours was when Jeff Holloway got on the mic, and we talked about how much it matters, the work that Jeff's doing in the community, and those deep conversations, and then just seeing like, wow, there's a lot of conversation going on right now around a recession, right? And I want to tell you guys, man, you're being duped by the media. You're being duped into believing a false reality. Because the way that we just saw people from all over the nation and all over the world, for that matter, contribute to this cause, just tells me that people are still in the mix, man. They're still ready to answer the call, to step into the breach, to give, to contribute, to be a part of things that matter. All right, and a lot of your way of thinking, if you didn't see this event go down, you're being duped into thinking that the world is a way that it's not really. That's not reality. We got to see the reality of what the world actually is during this 24-hour time span, and it all of a sudden took a whole new life that was completely different than we anticipated it to be. And we just flowed right into that. And Doug, you asked this question, and the answer is we didn't plan it this way, dude. We planned it to revolve around me and Chili racing one another.
Well,
that was the plan.
I will say, from my perspective, that the idea was started that way, but as soon as you told me that you had talked to David about making it a fundraiser, it totally shifted. I mean, because I honestly thought it was a good idea to do the race, but I didn't actually really that badly want to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, well, not only do I want to do it now, we have to do it.
Now, I agree with you. So us personally, like that was our driving force behind it. But I'm saying the race was going to be the foundation of why people were there tuning in.
Yeah.
We thought it was going to be the band and who's going to win. And by the end of this thing, nobody freaking cared.
No.
Nobody that was watching this thing by the end cared who won. Like, nobody.
Well, you guys, I mean, I would have never pictured, I thought it was going to be like what you said. You guys would be kind of intense and we would have to fill in a lot talking because you guys probably wouldn't want to talk because y'all would be racing. And then we end up singing, people are paying to have you guys stop on the treadmill and sing Christmas carols. Like it was not, like you said, it changed. It was not about the race anymore. It was about fun and like just raising money.
I've talked to so many people that were watching this and they said, I don't understand why, but I couldn't stop watching it. It was like a vortex. And I couldn't stop watching it. Like I had people say I was up at midnight laying in bed with my iPhone and my headphones on. And my wife's like, why are you ever going to go to sleep? And he's like, no, I can't stop watching this. And that's why. It's because in reality, if it would have been two freaking goofballs, skid marks running on a treadmill, that would have got old. But the viewers and the love and the contribution and the generosity, and that was what created the vortex. That's why you couldn't stop watching it. Is because when else do you get that? You don't. I mean, it's hard to find that environment in day-to-day life, man. And
it's also hard to find you singing Christmas carols with a Santa hat on.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
That will never probably ever happen again.
No, it probably will never happen again. You're right. And that's a great lead in into a couple of people ask about the piece of tape that I reversed around on my treadmill there at the very end, and was written on that for those who can't. All right? For those who can't. And I want you guys to understand something. You can take mantras and you can take your why and you can take all this stuff and you can get real corny with it. That's not my intention for that, all right? So no matter how good your mantra is, or no matter how good your why is, or no matter how good your reason is, right? If you haven't put in the work to be able to roger up when it gets freaking hard, like
it don't freaking matter.
It don't matter. It don't matter, right? But for me, I knew I could roger up when it got hard, right? And this was just a reminder for me of why we were doing this event. And I taped it on my treadmill, and it's because, well, I got my brother David sitting right there in front of me. And David can't run. And I've told you guys time and time again, man, a lot of the reason why I push, why I run, why I go out and do things that I do is simply because I have the capability to do them. Like just the very ability to do something like run. You and me and all of us, we take that for granted. I mean, we take that for granted. I mean, if just imagine as a mother or a father or an aunt or an uncle, you being out with your children and you not being able to get up and run and play with them in that way, right? Running around. Like, it's a gift to be able to run. And I wanted to remind myself that it was a gift for me that day to be able to run for 24 hours, even though it hurt, right? And so for me, that was my thing, man. I like to have a little thing every time I go and race that reminds me of something to be thankful for, right? Because there's a lot of people out there right now that can't do the simple things. We call them simple things, like running. They can't freaking do it, man. And then I watch all these fat freaking hogs walking around out here that just they literally they've eaten themselves to dang near half to death. And to me, it's just like spitting on the face of everybody who doesn't have a physically whole capability or body. Like, it's your responsibility to be in shape and utilize the gifts that you have been given day to day to day. Like, it's your obligation. At least I feel like it's mine. So that's what that piece of tape was all about. All right. It's good to have a reminder sometimes, a freaking sanity check of all the crap that you and me and all of us, all the really seemingly mundane things that we take for granted. There's somebody right now sitting in a clinic somewhere getting chemo. Right? And they feel like crap. And they're not going to be able to do anything. They can't do anything. They can't even function because they're sick, man. And so you're gonna keep eating at freaking Bojangles and just making a mess of your freaking life. That's the ultimate example of a freaking turd, man. That's what that was all about for me. Because I'm the same way, man. I take things for granted too. But I do understand that it's my responsibility to utilize the abilities God has given me to the maximum potential during the time that He has given me.
I loved too, like, David was so open. Quite a few times he opened up the chat during the event too for people to ask him anything about what it's like to be in a wheelchair. And some of the things he talked about, like you talk about taking things for granted, that was eye-opening for me, and it stuck with me. Like, he was talking something simple about, like, reaching something up high on the shelf at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, or he was at our house, and I was like, he can't reach the shower head to pull it down. I mean, like, you just don't think about stuff like that, and I thought it was really cool that he was willing to share a lot of that stuff with thousands of people.
Yeah.
It helps you gain that perspective when you hear it from somebody who you can see, you know?
Yep. I agree. I want to dig into these questions from Patreon. These will lead to some other conversations for you guys, and then we'll wrap it up. So a few of these are directed straight to you, Chili. Bernie from Patreon asked, do you have any lasting injuries or issues from that run?
No.
Like lingering?
No, I'm good. I mean, just got to keep recovering, you know?
Politician.
Yeah, so...
He ain't going to tell you guys if he's injured.
I just
Do y'all know, Chili?
I'm good.
Yeah. I knew. Look, guys, there is a point when you're doing these types of events, super long endurance events, where you have the conscious realization that you are harming your body. It's your body's own self-preservation mechanism. There's an alarm that goes off in your brain that says, hey, you're harming your body right now. All right, you hit that point. I hit it anyways, even on the 24-hour race. There was a distinct moment where an alarm went off that said, you are hurting yourself. Okay? You have to train to be able to get to that point and then walk the line between actually going over the edge and having a debilitating injury and just keeping going at a pace that you know isn't going to push you over that edge, all right? But yes, me and Chili were hurting ourselves. There was nothing healthy about what we were doing, and we both knew it. But we've trained enough to know how to mitigate things to the point that we can get through these events without having lasting injuries unless there's a catastrophic accident. Okay, which could happen at any time. So that's the way that works.
Well, I mean, it also comes down to how much you care about causing lasting damage. Like, I mean, if I was going to cause lasting damage, I didn't really. Honestly, I didn't even consider that. That didn't even come in my mind. I mean, there's, like you said, there's probably some brain chemistry thing that like was sending signals to my body that were alarm signals. But what I truly was able to focus on for the entirety of that event was what can I do to maximize how far I can go, which sounds...
But maximizing how far you can go means not going over the edge to where your body shuts down.
Well, sure. It's like whenever it gets to the point where truly your muscles aren't working to the point where running is faster than walking, then you freaking walk and you stride a certain way, and then, oh, that's not working. I mean, that was every decision, and it devolved to the point where I was going a half a mile an hour, which, I mean, is unbelievable. I said before this started, I literally, if you asked me how far could you run / move on broken glass in 24 hours, I would have said, well, surely 65 miles. and that's how I didn't even get that on this Trueform treadmill. So, I mean, it's not good, but that's what I was trying to do. So,
well, it leads into our next question, actually. This TJ asked, and we kind of already addressed this, is it harder to get miles on the Trueform than the track or the trail? Yes. For me, yes. Unless I am just really confused about my own physical ability, yes, it is much harder to get miles on the Trueform treadmill than it is on the track or trail. But we run on track or trail all the time, right? So maybe if you ran on the Trueform all the time, maybe then it would flip-flop, right? But the other question Aaron Brown asks is right along this lines. Are you happy with your mileage? Look, no, we're never happy with our mileage. Look, what a lot of people don't understand is you actually never push yourself as hard as you can possibly go. Anytime you finish an effort, you should always look back on that effort, and you should always be able to identify times, places, and things where you could have ran faster or done something different in order to speed yourself up or to have put out a better performance. If you ever actually pushed as hard as you could physically go, you would die or collapse. You never reach that point. You don't even come close to it. Like you don't even get near it. Nobody does. It's the body's self-preservation mechanism. The only time you would get near it would be in combat, or if your child was being attacked or something like that, right? And your hormones just completely flooded you out and took over. But no, neither Chili or I are ever completely happy and satisfied with our performance, which is what drives us. That is what drives us. Now, can you be proud that you did something hard? Yeah. But being proud of yourself that you did something hard is different than being satisfied with your effort. The moment that you're satisfied with your effort, you're going to stop getting better. That's just the truth.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself as far as that goes. But I remember probably the most ticked off my mom and dad have ever been at me about my running career is on the drive home from the first 100-mile race that I won. Whenever they asked me something and we were talking about something and I was like, I know I should have went faster. And I started talking about this point in the race and everything. And they both cut me off and were like, you sound like a freaking idiot. And I was like, well, I'm just telling you. And I mean, I think it is hard for people to understand, but I don't try to have that mindset. I mean, that's just the way I'm wired. I think it lends itself to continually getting better. Like Chad alluded to, I truly believe if you're actually satisfied with the way something went, actual satisfaction would mean there is no need to improve it, which a lot of people do. I think they get to that point, but you're never going to get better. So if you actually are satisfied with something, you better acknowledge that you're never going to get any better from that point on. And if you're cool with that, well then proceed. But that's the way it is. So no, if I had ran 150 miles on this, I would. You
would have been able to look back and find a point where you could have ran a little faster for some amount of time, or you could have been more efficient.
And whether it's 0.1 miles or 10 miles that I left on the table, I'm still pissed.
Yep. John Radick and James Leggett both asked about the same question. Was this challenge easier or more difficult given the setup with the live interaction element, the freaking blinding fluorescent lights, the constant interaction? Was it more challenging or was it easier? My answer, simple answer, it was more challenging. It was more when you're out running a regular endurance event, especially if you're running out front, you can just shut your mind down. You don't have to say anything to anybody. All right? Every word that you speak, every thought that you formulate in your mind, every interaction that you have is taking a small amount of energy from your actual ability to perform. That's just the reality of it. That's what it's doing. It's detracting from what you could put into running. So this was the engagement aspect of it made it more difficult for me, just in terms of I had to utilize a portion of my energy to monitor what Brooke was saying on the live stream to make sure she wasn't going to get us kicked off YouTube.
Stop.
Or to answer a question or something like that. Versus if I was running a normal race, I don't talk to people when I'm racing. I'm not a runner that's going to go out. If it's race day, I'm not going to have a conversation with you on the trail during the race. No, I'm not talking to you. Focusing every amount of energy I can on the task at hand. So for me, that element of it made it more difficult.
What about you, Chili?
I don't know that I would say it's more or less challenging. It was just different. I mean, I've raced a cumulative my whole life, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of race time. I mean, that's true. It's kind of funny. I've never really thought of it that way, but it's piled up to hundreds and hundreds of hours, and like probably it would be several hours total, but a very small percentage of that time is actually been spent even remotely close to any other runner. I mean, and I'm not saying because I was out far ahead, but that's just the way races are. You get isolated. I mean, it has nothing to do with being ahead or behind or whatever. It's just you're isolated on the trail most of the time, no matter what speed you're running.
For some people, that would be harder. For some people, but for Chili and I, the way we're wired, that is where we thrive most.
So this was just so different because you're right there exposed. Mm-hmm. Everything like Chad talks about, you couldn't hide. Well, I mean, he talked about going in the bathroom. I mean, maybe other people didn't catch it, but like if you, I mean, of course I knew his. I mean, I couldn't tell you, oh, his big toe's hurting or his calf or whatever. But like when he gets off the track, I mean, there's just certain minute details that people don't pay attention to that I was like, well, okay. I mean, I know that, but I didn't need the hope. I didn't need like to think Chad had a chink in his armor to have hope. I mean, I was going to do what I was going to do. And, you know, if that ended up catching up to him, then I might have had a chance. But, you know, if not, that's the way it is. But yeah, that like if he had that same issue and we're running a race and I'm ahead of him or he's ahead of me, I would have no idea.
No, you wouldn't have been able to see it.
I would have had no idea. And I don't think it really matters if I know he's got that or not, because I'm always just assuming that I've got to do what I've got to do, whether he's good or bad. But it was interesting because you did have that information. You could see it. We were exposed. Every time I got off the treadmill, you could just sit there and look at me.
Yeah.
And you could watch me move.
And I'll be honest with you, I feed off of that. Every time somebody quit and buds, it made me feel better. I feed off of that. That's why, I mean, I love seeing people break down.
I mean, you get to watch.
Yeah. It feeds me, right?
Yeah. Well, when we raced together at the Georgia Jewel, you have no idea what I looked like for 99.9% of that. Mm-hmm. You saw me when we passed each other on the loops.
Yep.
I saw you. I have no idea what you look like that day. We raced together 100 miles. I saw you for 3 seconds. No idea what that day looked like.
Yep.
I don't know where you went fast, where you went slow, where you showed, you know, a limp or what. I have no freaking clue. Same with me. But this, I saw everything.
Yep.
Can I speak on that too? Like you and I kind of talked about, I'll make it quick, Boo, that no, I've never seen something done like this before. And after watching you guys, I can see why nobody would choose a challenge that they don't know how their body's going to react to. And they're going to do it live with cameras on them the entire time.
You're putting it all on the line.
If you blow up, it's done. Like you are in, there's no hiding. And you know, the live chat, there was a lot of people judging everything you guys were doing. Oh, he must be feeling this. Like, look at the way he's and this and that. And I know you two, your personalities, you don't care, but a lot of people that would bother them.
This is why other people don't do this.
Right.
This is why other big running influencers and stuff, that's why they don't do this. Well, I want you to understand that, all right?
Their documentaries are little bits and pieces of the highlights of their challenges.
There's too much at stake if you look bad.
Right.
We were willing to expose our entire self to everyone.
Nobody does that.
Because we have nothing to freaking prove.
Yep.
Right? We've made no claims. We haven't made a claim that we're the toughest people on earth. Okay? So that's why we're able to do what we do. And that's what made this event unique. And I encourage you guys to be the same way. You have nothing to prove. Right? Teddy asked a great question. I want to hit this. This is more for me. Chad, you mentioned starting to run the 6-4 at some point during the night. That was at 11. Was that always part of the plan? And how do you think about when to change the plan during a mission versus stick with the original plan you developed in preparation?
That's a good question.
Yeah. No, running 6-4 was never part of my plan. All right? But here's what happens. When you train over the course of time, you build up knowledge of tactics, techniques, and procedures that you know will work. And you put those in your toolbox. And so I have ran 6-4 for 100 miles before. That's running 6 minutes, walking 4 minutes. I've done that for 100 straight miles before. I got sub 24 doing it with Jesse Itzler. I knew that worked. So I have that now forever in my toolbox, right? So what happens is the more tactics, techniques, and procedures that you solidify in training, the more you have in your toolbox, right? So you can make a plan. But when things change, you're not just grasping for straws. No, you're reaching into your tool and you're pulling something out that has been solidified and proven in training. Okay? So that's why I pulled out the 6'4". It was never a part of the plan. And I tell you guys all the time, plan your dive your plan. Yeah, you should have a plan. You should have a good plan. You can't make a good plan unless you have experience, unless you have trained, unless you have a toolbox full of solid, proven tactics, techniques, and procedures. You can't even make a good plan. So you got to do all that stuff on the front end. That's like 12, 13 years worth of work for me, building all those tools up, right? Then you can make a plan based off the tools that you have. But then if that plan goes awry, which it did for me, I didn't know how this treadmill was going to impact my body. We've already hit that. And when I realized it was impacting my body in a negative way, I didn't have to grasp for freaking straws. I could reach into my toolbox and I could pull out a solid technique and implement that technique and see if it changed anything. And it did. It changed everything for me. It condensed my life down to a 10-minute clock. And I could tell myself, I can always run for 6 minutes. I can run for 6 minutes because then I get to walk for 4 minutes.
It was maximizing how far you were going to go.
That's exactly right. And it worked.
Yeah.
Holy crap, it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's how that works, Teddy. All right, guys. We're going to run a few more questions here. If y'all got anything to comment on, y'all go ahead while I look through these questions real quick.
Is that never mind.
Huh?
I'm gonna get made fun of.
No.
Nope, not doing it.
We wouldn't do that. We've never been known to do that. You got anything, Blake?
This is the last question I've got from Patreon.
Nope.
And
Blake's not allowed to have anything.
And then Blake can give his perspective after he's listened to this whole conversation. Man, you guys are freaking like a bunch of daggone wet dish rags tonight.
Well,
What are you talking about?
When you gave me about 5-second window there, I just said...
You've been speaking for Chili this whole time. You've been answering the questions going, we feel this way about this.
Austin Boyd asked, do you have a mantra that you use?
I know.
Yeah, Chili, my mantra was definitely for those who can't for this race. But I still, again, in my toolbox, I still have I never get tired. I still have my... be hard when it gets hard. I still have all my don't die in the chair. Those things are just ingrained in me, okay? They're just ingrained in the nature of who I am. Aaron Dana asked, did you experience a deeper level of determination or grace knowing that you were doing this for others rather than doing this race for yourself? So you can answer that, Chili. Did you experience a deeper level of determination or grace knowing that you were doing this for others rather than doing this race for yourself?
Oh, man, a deeper level. I mean, yeah, in a way, yeah. I mean, definitely, because for me personally, not that, I mean, I don't guess I'd say it doesn't matter, but I mean, my personal story with running is it was such a selfish endeavor for all of my life for 20 plus years, and then recently trying to make a conscious shift away from that, and then being presented with this opportunity was a really cool alignment, and so yeah, it made it super different, and I guess I could affirmatively say it was deeper. I mean, I've always been determined, but I think this was a determination built on a stronger foundation. At least I could say that. I don't know how to put it into terms, but it was definitely it's funny. I would never have guessed that after such a bad performance, I would be as thrilled with what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, typically a bad performance that I've had just was a bad performance. This was a bad performance that was a small part, but a part of a great thing that happened. So, yeah, I mean, I can at least say that.
Which actually, I think your bad performance, Chili, which it was absolutely terrible performance, was actually a great spectacle for people that were watching though, because if we would have both just crushed through that thing the whole time, like, yeah, maybe it would have motivated some people, but I'm going to tell you what people actually need to see is people who are suffering greatly that still pony up and do whatever they can with what they have left. Like, that's what people need to see, right? So, well, I was actually glad you fell apart and you looked like freaking the Tin Man walking on the treadmill.
I think people need to. People are too ignorant of what you did because, like, you don't need to see somebody look like not do well to have that feeling. Like, you should look at Chad and say and think the same things. Like, yeah, he ran 87 miles. Oh, so that means he had it easy or whatever. That's what I tried to say at the end. Like, it just, I don't know. I don't think people will ever get it, but
that joker was hiding in the bathroom so he could take breaks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people will ever get it, but I'll still try. Like, ain't nothing tough about me. I mean, I've never said that, or if I have, I apologize. I'm not. Like, ain't nothing special about me. Ain't nothing gritty. God, I freaking hate that word. I mean, ain't nothing gritty about that. Like, we talked about what real grit is on the show. If there is anything, is grit, and it's the people that we were doing this for. But as far as, like, you know, watching somebody fight through a lot to still get miles, Chad did a much better job than I did of that. So it's really just irritating for me. Probably not even for him, but it's irritating for me because I know I have more of a concept, I think, of what of his performance, and so to just brush that off is just, I don't know. It irritates the crap out of me, but. Sometimes that's the way it is when you're on top, man. You just kind of get brushed aside. So
yeah, well, I am the undisputed champion at this point. I am definitely the undisputed champion at this point. So
and still getting disrespected.
Yeah. And Aaron, I'll answer your question. Was there a deeper level of determination? No, for me, there was not a deeper level of determination. My determination was steady. In my mind, there were two aspects going on at all times. There was the race aspect that was in my mind, and then there was the charity aspect. Those two things had a line drawn between them in my mind for a long time. All right. Now, once I got to the point that I had about a 10-mile lead on Chili, a solid 10-mile lead, and I looked over at his screen and saw he could only walk 2.1 miles per hour, and I had a 10-mile lead, I was able to lean more into and be more aware of the charity aspect of the event. So in that way, the determination didn't have to be as strong. It just didn't have to be because I was racing Chili. I wasn't trying to get to a certain amount of miles. I was racing Chili. Like, and once I got to the point that I was 95% sure he could not catch me and win, regardless, all I had to do was keep moving. Then I was able to lean more into the spirit of the event and not the determination to win. Well, right?
I don't know. I think that was the same for me, like the race and the event, because what I thought would be the best for both was the same thing. I thought me maximizing how far I could go was going to be the best thing for the race and for the charity fundraising aspect of it. Like, I thought, I mean, if I'm just maximizing how far I can go, the further I get, the further you get, the the more people will, I don't know. That's you didn't think that? I mean, you didn't think if we had got to 100 miles, that would be, more special and more people would have given, and 120.
No, I just wanted to beat you.
I mean, people had committed if we had got to 100 miles to donate so much per mile. So I was like, man, we got to go as far as we can. So we hit all the,
I just wanted to beat you.
Oh, well, sorry. Let me formally apologize for not making it harder.
I wish it would have been harder.
Yeah, well.
Well, guys, that's all the questions that I got. That's our. Yeah, Blake, you got anything to add on this conversation? Tech guy? Daggone, man. Look, y'all
nothing?
I mean, I can, but this thing been rolling for an hour and a half.
All right.
Woo, he's over it.
Well, we guys, we talked about total money raised by all of us collectively. That's including you guys, $249,999.99, which means I get to keep my beard. Screw you guys. Thank you, Jesse Itzler. Total miles, 87 for me, 64.97 for Chili. Recovery, eat ribeye, and relax. Talked about our highs and lows, best hours. Talked about for those who can't, don't take the things that you can do with your body for granted. And then we hit these awesome questions from Patreon. So, guys, we can't thank you enough for what you contributed. We can't thank you enough, even if you weren't able to donate, just for tuning in and being a part of the environment, a part of the community. It has really filled my heart with joy, and it has shown me the reason why we do what we do, especially on this YouTube platform. I did not, you guys blew any expectations or preconceived notions that I could have had in my mind completely out of the water. I want to encourage all of you that the world and your fellow man are better than what the media is telling you. You can have confidence in that. And I want to make a promise to you guys that as long as you guys keep supporting and keep showing up, and Jesus Christ keeps blessing 307 Project, we will not quit. We will keep showing up and doing what we can to make the world and everything that we can possibly impact better. We will not quit. We will keep showing up. We will continue to give you our full selves. And if you guys want to contribute more, support us on Patreon. That'd be awesome. Come train with us. You can apply for the basic course or the proving grounds. All right? That's all on 307project.com. That would be awesome. There's nothing better than being able to spend time with you guys face to face out in the back country. So, we love y'all. Nuff said.